So here's an overview of the PLC hardware, programmable logic controller. Essentially what you have here is a type of industrial computer, and as such this computer has the capability of being programmed and reprogrammed to do certain tasks. And in essence, any form of controlling system will have three main parts: the input section, the output section, and the brain section, or the processing section. So we got input, processing, or CPU, and then the output. We'll be talking about this device and how you actually can utilize it to automate processes of any type, whether those are commercial, industrial applications, or even home applications. You could use a controller to automatically control whatever you want, machines, processes, and things like that. But here is the prototype that I have developed to teach a course on programmable logic controllers. And once again, you have a section here called the input section. You have this section here called the output section, and this in the center is the actual controller itself. These controllers are programmed using different methods of programming in various types of languages. The type of programming language we're going to be using for this particular one is called ladder logic. And so I wanted to give you kind of an idea here of the controller itself. The input are all those signals that we can gather to process and make something happen. Example of that will be when you flip a switch for a light at home. You flip the input, and then there's really not a lot of processing capability happening there. But if we had a controller in between the switch and the light, such as we have here, then you'll be telling the controller to turn that system on and off based on the conditions of the input. So this is our input section. This is our output section. Think of an input of anything that can provide us information to process given certain conditions so that we can enable an output. An example of that will be, again, your sensors or micro switches in your door cards. When the doors are open, those are the inputs. The dashboard give you a sign that the doors are open, and that is your output. But for that to happen has gone through some processing capabilities, whether that's a hardware-based or software-based processing capability. Again, in our case, it's an industrial controller that has input, outputs, and the processing capability. If you looked at the inputs, I have actually 5 different physical inputs. I'm going to turn this on, and as I turn that on, something is already happening because there's a program already on this controller here. We can turn that off. This is just a short demo, which you're going to be able to play with a system like this, maybe acquire a system like this so you can learn your programming skills. We also have this particular input here, which has double functions. Now, these are the actual actuators of the input. Now, if I open back here, there'll be connection points or points of contact right here where the actual inputs are wired to. We're not going to get into that part at this moment, but it's all wired based on the labels of the inputs. So those are the input terminals. We also have here the output terminals on the side where the outputs are connected. That's a job that is already done. But just so you know that that's what's happening. So input, output terminals, input devices, output devices, and of course this is the processing part. The inputs also have an LED display here from 0 to 5, which means that we have 6 different inputs. Now notice here that there's only 4. 5 when you include that's your power switch, and this one, which is a double function, All right. You also have some other lights indicating power, run, and there's a couple more LED for fault and force, which I'm going to talk about that later on. Um, but then you also have the outputs here, which are going to be able to be turned on and off based on whatever program we put in the memory of this controller based on the conditions that we want the output to respond to. Additionally, this device needs to be powered up, and it uses a power supply, which I have it already connected, 120 to 24 BDC. It's fed with 24 volts direct current. Also, there is a communication port here that I'm using, which connects back over to my laptop. And so, in order for you to be able to program this device, you got to be connected to the laptop. Not only that, but you got to have the application software, which we're going to discuss in another demo, and your communication software. For the time being, I just want to introduce the idea of the controller itself and the hardware and the fact that we have inputs, outputs, the controller itself, light indicated LEDs, indicated diodes for the input and for the output here too, and also the power line and the communication port. So that's it for now. Once again, this is Dr. Rodriguez with an introduction to programmable logic controllers. I thank you for your time, and I'll see you on my next videos. Thank you so much.